So every time I've gotten up this morning, I hear that song, Back in the Saddle Again, like singing in my head because I feel like it's been so long since I've preached. Okay, anyway. Today we're continuing our Sticky Faith series, and we're talking about identity. I have been really excited to do the Sticky Faith series for quite some time now. Carrie came to me. Where'd she go? Hey! Carrie came to me like last fall or something like that, and she had gone to the National Youth Workers Convention. She's one of our youth leaders as well as band member, and she came back all excited about Sticky Faith. Yeah? She brought us all the books, y'all. She brought us both of those books that are back there. She brought curriculum for the youth and a book for the youth workers, and was there something for kids or something like that? Yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff. Oh yeah, DVDs. Yeah, there's DVDs in it. And she came back with this book that said like 180-day rollout of Sticky Faith. And I went, whoa. Slow down. I don't know about that. But we have been really excited about it. You know, this Sticky Faith, it has a lot of research behind it and talks about the changes that have happened for the last, I don't know, generation or so of young folks staying or not staying in the church. And so I feel like I've read a lot of this research and like heard about it, and a lot of us have lived it in different churches where, you know, numbers are declining and the church membership is aging and that sort of thing. But I love Sticky Faith because of its take on it. It's like, okay, so here's the problem. We got it, enough with the hopelessness, right? And it says there are ways forward, because the world is changing, and so therefore it's the challenge of the church to continue to change as well. So that's what we're doing in Sticky Faith. We're talking about different ways that the church can continue to be in relationship, with each other and with the world. A big part of this is identity, and so that's what we're talking about today. So as usual, I always have to use a story that's like from recent experience. So this one's extremely recent. In fact, I still have bruises from this extremely recent experience. Yesterday, I played like, how many hours? It was like 8 hours? 8 hours. 9 hours? But most of the team is here.
15 games, I think.
Yeah.
15 games, I think.
15 games?
9 to 5.
7.
Wow.
Was it 7 or 8?
It was a lot. It was a lot of
Whatever it
volleyball.
was,
We played volleyball all day
I played
long.
less
We've
than
gone delirious with it. We don't even know. Okay. So we played volleyball all day yesterday. And to be honest, we have been playing as a team like all summer long. So I have to give a shout out to Ryan. Ryan, say hi.
Hello.
Hi, Ryan.
All of this is Ryan's fault. Ryan plays in the competitive church league that goes year round. But this was the fun league, so any of us crazy people can play in the fun league. So we've been playing together like on Monday nights. Now I say playing together loosely because we all just come like when we can. And so the tournament was really like the first time that we all solidly played together. And seriously, it was like identity forming. I mean, I went into the tournament thinking, I know who this team is. Like, we're the goofy, crazy, fun, laughing team. Aren't we? That's what I thought. And that worked out for the first game. And so we were playing the first game. We're doing our usual, like, ha, ha, ha. We have to laugh in between each play. It's kind of like our routine. And that worked for us. And then we kind of hit a snafu in the second game. Where we thought we just had to wait. You know how in tournaments you just got to wait until your turn comes up again. And so we thought, okay, we just got to wait through this next game and then it'll be our turn again. So we disappeared for a short amount of time. We thought, okay, we got enough time to run down to Circle K. We'll get some snacks. We'll have time later for lunch, which turns out we didn't. And then we'll come back. Because we got back and they were like, oh, no, you're not playing after this game. You're playing after the next game, right? So then we sit there against the wall again. Oh no, you're not playing this game, you're playing the next game. Before you know, it's like 4 hours before we're playing again. All right, do you know what that does to team morale? Hello? That's not a good thing. So by the time it was our turn to play again, we're like standing up and we're like so tired and so sore and like creaky and stuff. Okay, it's time to play again, but I'm really hungry and I can kind of use a nap. That's how we headed into game 2. So I'm sure you can predict that game 2 was not good. We didn't do so hot. In fact, the tournament is double elimination, and so when you walked into the gym that day, they had the brackets all set up, and everybody's lined up on the first bracket, but then below it, the second bracket is literally named the losers. bracket. Is that what it was, loser's bracket? Okay, yes. So as soon as you lose your first game, you go down to the loser's bracket. Yeah, by the end of the second game, we were in the loser's bracket. I don't even know who that team was out there, right? It was weird. We were not laughing. We were not having fun. And every time we tried to get the energy back, you'd give your teammate an encouraging comment or something like that, but somehow it kind of came out critical. So just added to the tension. So by the time we were done with the game, we were all looking at each other like, what just happened? I don't even know who we are. And throughout the day, we had to find ways to work through that because we'd never really solidified our team identity. If you've served on, maybe you haven't been on a sports team, but maybe you've been on a work team, or those teamwork activities that you're assigned to in school, where you're forced to be with a group of people. Either way, whether you're forced or willingly there, you have to figure out the group dynamic, right? That's the group identity. I love the idea of us talking about this in the church, especially as it pertains to a team, because the team is sort of like the church, right? And every church has their own identity, just like every individual has its own identity. And that conversation is key to the way that your faith develops and how long it lasts. Is that my fault? Okay, just checking. Sticky Faith talks about identity. It's the second chapter. It's that important. It's one of the foundation ideas to the longevity of your faith is figuring out who you are in your faith. There are some scary statistics in there about how many young people still consider church vital. We talked last week with Dr. Craig, who was here, where he talked about how 1 in 5 young people just doesn't affiliate with any religion anymore. Well, there's another statistic that looks at churches specifically. Out of kids who are raised in the church, kids like these guys, who start out real young and they do the whole Sunday school thing, and then they may go through youth group, they might even end up on a mission trip. The statistic is still true no matter how much stuff they have been involved in church, that 50% of them will drop out and not return maybe for their whole life. Now, I picture the youth group that was just up here a few weeks ago. They got back from their mission trip, and they got up and they led the service, and they did the sermon, and they talked about their experiences. Yeah, it was pretty cool. Some of them were here. It was pretty cool. They talked about their experiences of how it changed them. They talked about the people they met, the things that they worked on, just the places that they had seen that were so different from their own experience. I mean, clearly, they had been transformed themselves. And their perspective on the world and on the church and on their own faith had changed too. Can you imagine looking at those kids that are lined up here, that every other one of them, 50%, will not be here in a couple of years? That's not okay. That's not okay with me. I like the way that Sticky Faith talks about it, though, because we don't stop there. There are ways in which we can claim identity for ourselves and ways in which our kids can claim identity that changes the actions, the behaviors that all of us engage in throughout our lives. So there's some great research that Sticky Faith has done, and so we get to hear from some of their research subjects in the book. So this is a quote from Emily, who says, "I heard someone say the fence is down." We're going to talk about fences in a little bit. And by that, they meant the fence of your school, your family, your church, your friends, who were once a fence around you saying, this is the type of person that you are. Or this is what you are and are not allowed to do. Or this is what is and is not appropriate. And then that fence drops way down as soon as you get to college. And I saw that instantly. The first day on campus, your parents drive away. No one knows you. And suddenly I was faced with this situation in which I could literally have recreated myself in some ways if I had wanted to. And nobody would have known that I'd ever been any different. That's what it's like when kids are graduating from high school. But you know what? This happens to us at many different points in our lives. Like there are transition moments where some of your fences come down and you are faced with this question of identity and redefining who you are. Now, verse 9 in the scripture today says that we are called out of darkness and into the wonderful light. I can tell you, there are many high school graduates who would say, yes, this is what happens when you graduate high school and you go off into the world, you go to college. I am called out of darkness and into the light. Yes? Come on, guys, that's funny. That's right, Ed, that's part of it. Is that the high school student says equates home with the darkness and college with the light. That there's this newfound freedom and excitement and independence, right, in going to college. You remember this. You've experienced this, hopefully, at some point in your life. You've had this sense of, I have extreme freedom and independence. Do you remember that feeling? Yeah? You remember that openness? That lightness? Now, there is I feel like a myth that could go either way, that going off to college and living the good party life, that is going into the light. That's the freedom, right? In fact, there's a quote in here that I thought was hilarious. I will read to you. It says, several of the students interviewed by Fuller Youth Institute, that's who they use for their research, acknowledged that they put their faith on hold when they entered college so that they could enjoy the college life. Okay, translation, y'all, that means party. Yeah, enjoy the college life. That must be going into the light. Well, there must be some middle ground here, okay? Because you don't have to let go of every fence that you had in your life or everything that has built you up over time in order to experience freedom and to define your new identity, right? So we talk about this idea of fences when I teach confirmation. And we talk about what makes us United Methodist as opposed to, the hundreds of other denominations that you could choose from. And I have them picture a fence, a corral, right? So being United Methodist, we are fenced in by these certain beliefs that separate us from other denominations. But we're not necessarily all in the same part of the corral. There are some folks who are dead center in the middle of the corral. But then, there's some of us that hang out over here by this fence or that corner or whatever. But we're all United Methodist, right? That's what it's like when kids are being raised in the church, too. They're fenced in. It's not even just in the church, it's in life. They're fenced in by all of these aspects of their life that teach them who they are. So we're going to do a little bit of brainstorming. Can you help me with the fences that we help to raise our kids and help to shape their identity? So can you give me some examples of things that might be like fences for giving kids identity as they're being raised? School? Yeah. Anything else? Just school.
Parenting rules.
Sport? Parenting? Yeah, those are good. You say Girl Scouts. The Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts. Yeah. Or what?
All boys, girls, men's.
Men's. Just go it all the way. Okay, organizations, yeah, like clubs and stuff. Okay. What else are things that might help form a kid's identity?
Church.
What? Siblings. Ooh, and what was it over here?
Church.
Church. Okay. Good job. Good answer, by the way. Church, we're actually going to put over here because we're going to break that apart in just a minute. Did somebody else say something else? Friends. Grandparents. Beautiful. Said like a true grandparent. Okay. Anything else that might help shape a kid's identity as they grow? Uh-huh. Extended family. Anything else? Okay, let's go over to the church side. So what are some specific ways that we in the church help to raise and form kids in their faith identity?
Sunday school.
Good. Can you guys go fast? I had to really pull it out of the other ones. Okay. Youth group, Sunday school. Is there something else?
Mission trips.
Confirmation, mission trips.
Service trips.
Mission trips, that's service projects, okay. Communion? Ooh. That's a new one.
Fellowship.
Fellowship?
Sports.
That was
I go in there.
that. Yeah, sports.
Did you say sports?
Yes.
That's right.
Sports is a
Volleyball.
fellowship.
Sports fellowship.
Yeah.
Fellowship.
VBS?
Work on Eric's.
Wait, I just missed one.
I
The
just was
potlucks.
introduced.
Oh, yeah, potlucks.
At least for the Methodists, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
You have a potluck today?
Potato salad.
Bible understanding, yep.
Craig says you can't have potato salad.
Ooh.
Middle school.
Yep, we got camp, baptism. Ooh, choir.
The pastor.
Good.
Your own special spot.
That's just y'all.
Well, that's another page. That's another page.
Very good, guys, very good. Okay, so here's the thing. Throughout life, the fences are supposed to change, right? You're not the same person you were when you graduated high school. I hope. The fence posts are supposed to change and they're supposed to move. Our identity is constantly shifting. But here's the thing is that usually it's just one of these things that moves at a time, right? So as a kid, as your family expands, you might experience you get additional members of the family, or say something happened and a family member died and you went through something traumatic. The fences are not going to fall down because everything else is going to help hold it up when that one thing changes. Same thing over here. I mean, you can have a pastor change and it can be okay. It really can, because all this other stuff is going to hold the fence up. Here's the thing though, certain points in our lives this happens, but it's one of the biggest times when this happens is when a kid graduates from high school, goes off to college, all at the same time. It all falls away at the same time. So all of a sudden they're standing there in the middle of an open field. And which way do I look? Which way am I supposed to go? Do you remember how many choices there are at that point in life? I remember having kind of an epiphany after I graduated high school. It was that couple of weeks before college starts, but the high school went back to school, so all my younger friends are in school. And I'm standing in the middle of the Walmart, and I'm looking around, whoa, the world keeps going while kids are in school. No way. I get to choose where I want to be every single day. Am I going to go to class? Am I not going to go to class? Am I going to go to church? Am I not going to go to church? There are so many choices that are open to kids when they go off to college. And they're all trying to answer the same question. And it's this key question that we ask ourselves at multiple points throughout our lives is, who am I? Theologian Henry Nouwen, now he's a Catholic, but we'll take it, all right? We can listen to Catholics. He tries to decide have we answer this question. He says sometimes we try to answer this question, who am I, by saying, I am what I do. How many times have you tried to define yourself by something that you do, like, I am an athlete. I am a student. Oh, no, I define myself by my work. I am my job. Maybe we try to define the question that way. Or he says, we might try to say, answer who am I, by saying, I am what I control. So then we think, okay, well, if I live in the right house, or I drive this such and such car, or I wear certain kinds of clothes, then those are things I can control, and that's how I will define myself. That is my identity. Or sometimes we try to decide who we are by saying, I am what others say about me. Which honestly, as you're growing up, that's not such a bad thing, right? That's the whole fence post thing. There's all these people in your life that help you figure out who you are. And so part of your identity does come from what other people say that you are. But at some point, the fence posts are going to move. And you're no longer defined by what those people say. And sometimes it's not always healthy to define yourself by what someone else says. And so you have to find that new voice. So Henry Nouwen said, you know what? It's not, none of these are the answer, what we do or what we control or what others say. In the end, we are who we were created to be. So we are who God sees us to be. And it turns out that's the only answer we ever needed. We're always looking for a place that we can call our own. There's this thing in the scripture, I think they just name it something else, and they call it a royal priesthood. We're all called to live into this royal priesthood. The priests are people who have been set aside from society to pertain to all things holy. That sounds familiar. Pertain to all things holy. And so they don't participate in the regular daily life stuff. Hi guys. They're all here. They don't participate in the farming, or they're not creating textiles or anything like that. But it is their responsibility to speak up on behalf of the community. And they are very high profile. So the priesthood grows and changes over the years. But by the time that you get to Jesus' day, the Hellenistic period, the priesthood is kind of big. There's a lot of priests. And they're really high profile. So they're very well known in the community, and it's a prestigious position to hold. I know, they're too cute. You just can't not look.
Now it's full.
So everybody knows the priest, but at the same time, it is the priest's job to know everybody else, to know what's going on in their community, and they are responsible for the spiritual welfare of their community. And that's what we're called in this scripture to live into, is this community where everybody knows our name. So we got the video.
Making your way in the world today takes everything you got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot.
Sing along.
Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name. And they're always glad you came.
You can sing.
You wanna be where you can see. Your troubles are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
Singing here.
You wanna go where people know. People are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
Aw, don't you feel better? Yeah. I always feel good when I hear that song. I always feel good. It's never an easy thing to do, to create that kind of community. But that's what we're talking about when we talk about identity. It's a place where you're known for just who you are, not what you have done or you will do, but who you were created to be by God. It's a place where we need no other answer for the question, who am I, than I am the Lord's. We'll continue our time of worship through giving of tithes and offerings.